What up, y'all? DCFAYGOGUY. The Shaggy Show is back. Tuesday night, Shaggy aired the first episode, or streamed the first episode, did his first stream of his new channel, and he dropped knowledge. He took some time to address rumors, to kind of speak about some things. There's other channels that are kind of covering some of the things that he said. That's not necessarily what I want to do here. Obviously, though, one thing to really point out, and I want to mention just because in a previous video that I had made, when Violent J kind of made his return to social media, I in my video said that Violent J more or less confirmed that there will be a Juggalo Weekend, and I took that kind of out of context. Just because he had said that Bloody Sunday was dropping Juggalo Weekend, I just automatically assumed that meant there was an event, and there really was no direct word saying that there's going to be a Juggalo Weekend. So I do want to acknowledge that that was probably wrong on my part for assuming that and putting that out there, because there really was no confirmation of a Juggalo Weekend. And Shaggy had mentioned that on his part there is not going to be a Juggalo Weekend. That doesn't necessarily mean there won't be something going on. Who knows what Jay is planning, if anything at all. Although, with us being less than like 2 weeks away, I think we're right at a 2 week mark from when Juggalo Weekend would happen. I don't see there being anything going on, but it doesn't mean there won't be anything. And Shaggy's just basically saying for his end, he's not going to be there. And he kind of went on to really talk about mental health and, just making sure his shit's right mentally. And that's really what I want to kind of emphasize on, because I've made videos about it. There's been times that I've taken little breaks. Hell, I just kind of finished taking a 2 week break myself. December was a little bit short on uploads. I'm periodically taking little breaks. The homie Beneath the Dirt took a month-long break in December. It's something that I think is really important, because I see a lot of people that are coming into the YouTube game, and if there's any words of wisdom that I have, it's to not burn yourself out, to not get so consumed and constantly uploading and covering topics and shit like that. And that's basically what Shaggy came out and he had said, is how he, with the Shaggy and the Creep ending, Keegan went on stream, and when Keegan first was talking about it, I kind of wondered, because he had mentioned Shaggy being in a band, mentioning him doing the Keegan and the Creep thing, Shaggy and the Creep thing, as well as the Palcast, plus whatever else they had going on top of being, that he had a family. When he said that, it kind of struck a chord with me, because that to me said that Shaggy was experiencing burnout, which Shaggy then would go on to confirm when he was on the Talks Hit podcast, which is Manny's podcast. So that really confirmed it, and he really echoed it again on the Shaggy Show, that he said it like he had to take certain steps or do things in a certain order. That to me was just him saying that he kind of had to take a couple steps back and take care of himself. He then also talked about like making sure that the others around him are kind of in a similar mindset as him, to basically not bring himself down. And I'm paraphrasing like a motherfucker. I'm not trying to say that he's saying that, him and Jay are beefing. And I know he said something and then he kind of like backpedaled, because I think he realized what he said and how it could be misconstrued. I think he's just saying that obviously Jay's going through a lot. And it sounds like there's a lot of people in Psychopathic that are going through a lot. And so to kind of self-preserve himself, he just kind of distanced himself, and he's taking care of himself mentally, which to me is the really big important message, is to just always make sure you're taking care of your mental health. So yeah, I wanted to make this video talking about that, how I think that's a really important message that Shaggy has just put out there, because for 30 years they've been grinding like crazy. I know they've taken breaks during their career, and I think that's just a really important message to put out there, and I kind of want to echo it as well and follow that as well, to just say to make sure you're taking care of yourself, to make sure you're not overworking yourself and experiencing burnout, and just to take care of your mental state is a really important thing to do. So that's pretty much the basis of what I wanted to do with this video. It's just kind of mentioned that of what he was saying, the knowledge that he was bringing, and how I absolutely loved that he was doing that. And to me, and again, this isn't me saying that he was being surrounded by toxic people, but I think that this kind of happening before the final seed even drops is really kind of important, because I'm interpreting the Yum Yum flower as like it's trying to show you or tell you to try to navigate through life and recognize when you're being surrounded by toxic people. So I think that's also really kind of symbolic in a way that this has kind of happened, and that he's kind of hit pause on, you know, doing the Shaggy and the Creep. It sounds like taking a step back from being Shaggy of the Insane Clown Posse and just, you know, being Shags the Clown for a little bit. I think it's important to know that every now and again you just got to take a step back, take time for yourself. So really wanted to echo that. But lots of bombs dropped in the brand new Shaggy show. I'm excited for this new EP. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I've always kind of liked Shaggy's albums more than Jay's solo albums. So when he dropped that news, super excited to hear that he's planning to potentially do a tour for that EP when it comes out, and that his plan is during this tour to film for the Shaggy show. I'm all kinds of excited. If you don't remember my video when the Shaggy and the Creep first debuted, I was excited for that show because I always loved the Shaggy show, and we were getting it back in some kind of a format. And now it's kind of come full circle, and we're full on getting the Shaggy show back. And it sounds like with this tour, it's going to be like the original Shaggy show. So I'm definitely excited to hear more about that EP, to hear more about this tour, and hopefully he'll come close, because I definitely would love to be there. But yeah, tell me down below what you guys thought about the first episode of the Shaggy show, what you guys thought about the knowledge that he dropped, and again, just make sure you're taking care of yourselves. Make sure you're not overworking yourselves. Take time for you, and yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time.